Hi again, it's Jarrell, your Minister Miracle Worker Life Coach. Listen, I want to be really transparent with you because that is the E in Miracle. Express your authentic self. So, and I'm going to tell you that I sincerely believe that these principles that I'm trying to share are the most important principles in really helping a person to realize their complete potential as a human being, and therefore the success that we all really crave in our lives. The miracle system is not a system that employs any kind of fancy magical things. They're really based in basic human interaction. So there's two types of interaction that we have generally in the business world and in our regular life. And those interactions are transactional and relational. Now, because of the society that we live in, oftentimes people emphasize transactional. Now, I'm not going to talk about capitalism as a horrible concept. I don't believe that it's a horrible concept. However, I do believe that there's a way that we've employed it in America and in our cultures and our subcultures. The way that it affects the way we interact with people really minimizes more of our humanity than need be. I don't want any of our humanity to be minimized. And so what we want to do with the miracle principles is to maximize your humanity. It's not an elimination of the transactional. And when I say transactional, understand that the transactional relationship is instrumental hedonism. And so instrumental hedonism is I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I do something for you, you do something for me, right? What value can I get from you versus what value can I bring to you? Well, the relational interaction emphasizes what value can I bring to you, right? I'm interested in your humanity. How can I help you become a better person? And it begins with the ability and the desire to want to make friends. So when we're dealing with the stresses of life, the financial difficulties, the pressures to perform. I mean, you've got all kinds of things that qualify you as valuable based on what the world around us is giving us. And a lot of those things are not true. When you've been taught that you have to have a big house, that you have to have an expensive car or somebody else's name on your clothes or your bag or even your jewelry, right? Well, those things are not really real. And so what we've got to do is be able to emphasize the things that are valuable. And that's what the Miracle Mapping 101 does. The Miracle Mapping program is based in M, making friends. Make friends, and there's ways to do that, and I want to teach you those ways. I is interpret everything positively from the most positive perspective that you can interpret things from. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because draining yourself by interpreting things from the most negative perspective literally takes energy away from you being able to express your humanity. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to acknowledge what's negative. You do. I mean, that would be nonsensical to say don't acknowledge what's negative. What I'm saying is try to extrapolate from it what is the positive in this. And that's whatever. So that leads you right into the R, which is to recognize the value of failure. Too many times, I think we have been duped into thinking that failure is something that we should avoid at all costs. And it's not. Failure is actually the information that you need to succeed. It is literally a necessary element of success. You cannot achieve success without experiencing failures. And so we have to be able to face whatever situation, whatever challenge that we have in front of us, knowing that failure may very well be a part of it. So we have to go into every situation, every challenge that we have that we're going to be faced with, every desire of a vision to be accomplished, every success that we want to achieve. We have to go into that endeavor knowing that failure is probably going to be a part of it. And it's not that you look to fail, but know that it's going to happen so that it doesn't drain you, again, of your energy. And extrapolate the information that you need from it. Failure is simply the information that you need to succeed. That is all it is. And so I encourage you to look forward to that next failure so that you can get the information to move on. It is not a setback. It's what's in front of you. A is one of those things that people have not really taken a whole lot of consideration of. Now, naturally, there are things that you do that will, kind of be a part of this, but I want to take you to a deeper level. A is for asset mapping. Asset mapping on the micro, on the meso, and on the macro level. That is what you immediately have, what you have access to in maybe your family members or your community, which would be the meso level. And then on the macro level, what the world is giving you access to. Now, this takes research. Asset mapping is not an easy thing to do, but it's not so difficult that it can't be done. It does take time and it does take list making. And we'll talk about how to asset map so that you can get the best benefit out of the information that you've got, out of the resources that you have, and the things that you have access to. That brings us to C. C is collaborate. There are so many things that go up under C that we'll have to talk about in the course, but the one thing that C means is that you have to be able to bring people in to help you with accomplishing your vision. Now, I've already set the stage for how you do that, so by the time we get to C, we'll understand how to have actually more people to collaborate with. And then there's L. L is a way, and I almost wish that the letters were reversed, because a lot of times we'll deny people based on not being able to do L very well. L means to look through faults to get to needs. Oh my God, look through faults to get to need. And why is that so important? Part of the reason it's so important is because oftentimes we'll see people in a snapshot. We'll see their life and interpret it, who they are, based on this short-sighted instance that we picture them in, we caught them in. You may have caught Kirk Franklin cussing out his son, and now you think that that's who Kirk Franklin is, or that's some indication of Kirk Franklin's personhood. And it's not necessarily true. I think that each one of us, as we were honest with ourselves, would say that we found ourselves in different times expressing things that we were disappointed with. And so we wanted people to have grace on us and not really interpret us from that situation. So being able to look through faults and get down to needs is a necessary element for success. And that brings us to E, which is express your authentic self. Now, expressing your authentic self sounds easy. Sometimes I hear people all the time, I'm just real, I want to keep it 100. But here's the thing about your authentic self. If you're literally in your authentic self, you will be growing and changing as you go along. The more information you get, the more informed your paradigm gets, then you start to shift that paradigm and you become more and more of who you're supposed to be. For the truth is that most of us are not who we're going to be 10 years from now. So your authentic self always is going to be based in somebody who is open and willing to learn and grow and shift as you go along. Now, the thing about being authentic is that in the world where a lot of stuff is really not authentic, a lot of the interactions that you have, like I said, are based on transaction versus relation. You'll be tempted to begin to shape yourself according to the group that you're in. Now, that's not the same thing as being able to communicate with different groups, because I know as a Black person in America, I have to code switch in order for people to understand me. That's not being disingenuous. That's using a skill of communication that has been, that is necessary for me to get the message across. But expressing my authentic self has to do with what I believe, what I think, what I feel. Am I able to communicate those things without having to compromise the truth in every situation? What happens if I do that is that I end up not having to change for the situation that I'm in. I may have to communicate differently, but I don't have to change.